You wanna come here? You wanna say hi?
Hi.
You wanna say hi?
Hi.
Hi. You gotta come over on this side, baby. This is the first time we get to introduce our baby, huh? Look up at the camera. There you go. Say hi. Okay, I'm gonna talk about Daisy a little bit now, okay? Yeah? Alright guys, I'm going to try to do this as good as possible, and I'm gonna have Daisy with us.
Daisy.
Yeah, Daisy. Daisy. Can you say hi?
Hi.
Hi. Hi. Oh, aren't you so sweet? So guys, I am so happy to introduce, oh my gosh. Why is your shirt all wet?
Because she got in the water and I told her no.
Oh, this girl. You're making mommy out of breath. Okay, I'm gonna put you down and go play with the sea, okay? So I wanted to go ahead and introduce and just talk about Daisy. So some of you know, hi baby. Some of you know that we did, I'm sorry, it's not their nap time, so you're gonna see kids in and out. Okay, so some of you know that we have adopted a little girl. She is 18 months old now. She came to us when she was 4.5 months old. You want to back up? Okay. Hi. Hi. Yeah. Is that a camera? Is that a camera? Hi. So we got her when she was 4.5 months old. Yes. And she was tiny. She was only 10 pounds. Do you remember that? Eat. Eat? No, that's not eating. That's a camera. That's a camera.
Me?
Yes, you are a baby. No touch. Oh. No, no. Can you kisses? Give me kisses. No? Okay. Oh. Okay, so she came to us when she was 4.5 months old, and she was only 10 pounds. She was very itty bitty tiny. No, I don't have anything to eat up here. You already ate my smoothie. When she came to us, she was 10 pounds, and hi baby. This is so hard to get through, guys. I am so sorry. Okay, so she was 10 pounds when she came to us, and she was very undernourished. I won't go into too much detail because that actually was at the hands of her previous foster mother, who was a very sweet lady. I just think that she was a little overwhelmed with all the kids that she had. So she was only 10 pounds, and so right away she seemed very starved, and she just wanted to eat constantly. She was with her foster mother from birth, so she was taken from her mom, and I'm not going to go into her story about her mom's story or about any of the things that happened to her. I think that's her story to tell, and if she wants to tell it when she's older, she's more than welcome to, but I just don't plan on sharing that. I will share a little bit, just that it wasn't a great background that she came from, but she's good now. She's healthy now. She's wonderful and she's fine. We just right away just were feeding her. You know, I fed her on demand. I didn't do any kind of schedule or anything like that. She was hungry and was crying and she wanted a bottle, then I fed her. And we held her for basically the first like 3 days, just constantly. She slept in a co-sleeper next to our bed. You're distracting. No, you're getting sleepy, huh? Sorry, I'm back. I just put them down for a nap. And sorry if I'm winded throughout this. I'm still pregnant, 32 weeks now. Anyway, so we worked very, very hard with Daisy. She also had really bad cradle cap, like it was just covering her entire head. Luckily, that was really easy for me to help her get rid of. I just went and researched how to get rid of cradle cap. They said to put coconut oil on her head and then kind of take a comb and comb through her hair, and that seemed to work. I think it took like 2 days of that, and it really got rid of the cradle cap right away. So that was really good. When she first came to us, she came to us on a Saturday morning, and the Thursday before that, we had a visit with her, which lasted 4 hours. And at that point, that's when we were supposed to say either, yes, this is working out, and she seems like a good fit for our family, or no, this isn't working out. But of course she did. She worked out fine. And I don't know, are there people that say no to a child and say that they're not working out. I don't know. And Saturday she came and we picked her up in the morning from a McDonald's, and I actually have footage of all of this, but I have plenty of footage and photographs of the first day, so I will insert that throughout this video. So we went and met her foster mom at McDonald's, and she had brought Daisy with her in her car seat. We're on our way to go get you, Daisy. We're so excited. Are you excited, Daddy?
Yeah, I'm so excited.
What's the first thing you're gonna do when you see her?
Say hi.
No,
You don't want to be rude. You don't want to be rude.
Like,
and then give her hugs and kisses.
lots of hugs and kisses. And what are you gonna do when you see Daisy?
I'm gonna teach her.
You're gonna teach her what? We could teach her how to talk. Teach her how to Dougie. That's a good idea, Dad. Are you excited, baby? Yeah? Oh, what a good big sister you're gonna be. It is, it's so weird to think that we're gonna have 2 kids. No longer do we have just one. Daisy, I'm so excited for you. We just get hit a little. Smile at her real big.
Hey, Mama, I'm not smiling.
Watch.
Which mountain?
Daisy girl.
2 in each one.
There we go.
I see her like
Hi, pretty girl.
and then they do it sorry for some reason.
Hi, sweetheart. I love you. Oh! Did you spit up a little bit? Hello, boo boo.
Can I kiss?
And we switched her out into our car seat, and then she came and she had like huge boxes of her clothes and stuff that she had collected there. Legally, the clothes and anything you buy for the child has to move along with them to their next either foster or adoption home. So she did. She had a bunch of clothes that came with her, or that she brought with her. I don't. It always sounds like weird when you say things a certain way. And so we brought her home, and I mean, right away it was interesting because she was very hungry, and so we made her a bottle, and we sat in the parking lot because I didn't want to drive home and have her crying the entire time, especially if she's hungry. So we didn't have a van yet at this point, because we did just get a van for the 3rd baby. So I couldn't just like crawl into the back. So I was like sat outside of our car, leaned over into her crib, feeding her a bottle. It was just very funny. That was like our first experience in just having 2 kids and trying to figure out how on earth do you do this, especially because I can't just pull her into the front and nurse her. I have to figure out something. So it made more sense to just leave her in the car seat. Anyways, I'm rabbit trailing like crazy. So we brought her home, and for that first day she was very, very smiley and sweet, and just as smiley as we had seen her before, because we got to meet her once and have that visit on that Thursday, and she came home with us for about 4 hours, and then we brought her back. And then so Saturday she was still all smiles, and then I think the honeymoon, or not even the honeymoon stage, but the point where she realized, because for all she knows, we kidnapped her from the only mother she's ever known, her foster mother. I think she realized, because she did go to, her foster mom had her in daycare and stuff like that, so I think she was used to being with other people. But once the novelty of that wore off and she realized, oh, you're not taking me back home, oh, this poor girl cried. And I think that's all she did for probably about 2 to 3 weeks, where she would mostly sleep. She would eat like crazy. She was eating constantly, which is very normal for children in this situation, especially babies. And she was 4.5 months old and 10 pounds, and she was already kind of a little hungry and malnourished, in my opinion. And so when babies are trying to cope with things, their way to cope is to sleep. and cry and eat, and that's kind of all they do. So she slept a lot, but we held her for the first probably like 3 days, even for nap times and stuff. We never set her down. She was either being held by me or my husband Michael. We really wanted to grow that bond between us and for her to know that she's ours and we're staying here and she's safe, and you know, all of that. It was very important. My parents didn't even come see her or visit her for the first I think like probably week. I just really wanted her to establish that, and even when they did come, I didn't really have them hold her. If they held her, it was for like maybe a minute, but I don't think that was until further on. So, and they really encourage that because you don't want them to get confused about who the bond of the person they're supposed to be bonding to is. It was me, Michael, or Madeline, our daughter, holding her at all times. So we did. We held her, and that was really hard. It's really hard to listen to a baby cry anyways, but then to have this baby who, in my opinion, bonding, it didn't happen right away. It happens over time. For me, with my birth daughter, Madeline, or my biological daughter, she and I, you know, I had the 9 months in the womb, and so I was able to bond with her there, but as far as really bonding, like, that happens outside of the womb, in my opinion. And when you get to see their face and get to know their personality and all that stuff comes out, for me, that's when I really started to, you know, my love grew for Madeline. And I would say it was the same for Daisy. I started out and I had a love for her, as in I wanted to help protect her and feed her and help her kind of acclimate to being with us, because it's a very sad thing. I think I had misconceptions, and I'm sure a lot of people do, about adoption. That adoption is this beautiful, wonderful thing, and it is, but that you're like saving this child from a horrible life, and sometimes it's not really the case. Sometimes they had a foster parent, and even though that foster parent, the child isn't aware that they're not going to be staying with this foster parent, but that's their parent. That's the person they bonded to. And so when you come in as the adoptive parents and take over and kind of take them home and do all that stuff and bring them into your house and bring them into your home and love on them, they don't see it like that at first. You know, as far as they're concerned, you've kidnapped them, and where is their family? You know, it was very much like that is how it felt from Daisy towards us. She did not want us. She would cry, she would arch her back, you know, if we tried to hold her and rock her to sleep, and she didn't want us. And that's really hard. It's hard to deal with. But luckily, and thank you to God and praise Jesus, that it only lasted about 3 weeks. And then she started to, you know, acclimate to us, and I mean, she was pretty in love with Madeline from the get-go. I mean, she just loved watching her talk, and Madeline was so enamored with her. Madeline had a hard time, I would say, the first week, because Daisy was crying a lot. We were constantly holding Daisy, and Madeline is used to being an only child, and she's used to having our full attention. And probably about like 3 days in, Madeline started falling apart, and she would start weeping and crying. Like, she would see me and Michael hug each other or something, and she would start crying, and I can't remember what she said. I want you to only hug me, you can only hug me. It was that kind of stuff. She wanted to be essentially the center of attention, like she's used to, you know. And then she'd start crying, and I'd ask her, you know, when she'd start crying in those moments, I'd come give her a hug, and I'd say, what's wrong, baby? And she would say, you're just spending all of your time with that baby, and you're not spending time with me. And so we realized really quick, we didn't want her to feel like she's falling by the wayside. Her relationship with us at the expense of Daisy's, you know, we didn't want her to grow to resent Daisy or anything like that. So what we did is we both took her on dates, basically the next couple days in a row. So Michael took her on a date that night after she started expressing those emotions and feelings to us about how she felt like we were just spending all of her time with the baby. And so Michael took her on a date. They went to Starbucks, and I think they went to go catch Pokemon and stuff too, and just spent a couple hours together. And she came home after that, and I could tell she was very different, but she's always been attached to me, I would say, the most. She loves her dad now, but she's always just been a mama's girl. And so she was still like, well, are we gonna have a date, mommy? You know, and so I just told her, yes, I'll take you on a date tomorrow. So I took her on a date and we went to go have, I think I took her to lunch, and then I took her to, I believe I took her to the store to walk around and I let her pick out a toy. And then we were supposed to just me and her go to frozen yogurt. But she was so sweet, and after that, like all on her own, she just brought up, well, let's go back and get Daddy and Daisy and have them come with us so we can all go as a family. And I said, oh, are you sure, baby? I know that you were really, really excited to have a date with just mommy. And she said, yeah, but we had one and I just think that they would enjoy that too. And so she's so sweet. So we went back, we picked up the family, and we all went to frozen yogurt together. And it was nice. It was a wonderful family time. So all of that happened, and after that point, Madeline was pretty much okay. I mean, we still had to make a point to take her on dates often, I'd say like once a week. For the next probably like month, I think we took her on a lot of dates so that she felt that she was getting attention too. And then she really, really just took to Daisy instantly. It was her, you know, her sister right away. And she called her sissy, and she just loved on her, and she would hold her a lot, and a lot of times Daisy would cry, but she would stop crying when Madeline would come around and kind of play with her and entertain her and stuff. So that was wonderful to have Madeline during those times. And then I would say about, probably when she was like about 6 months, she started losing all of her hair, like almost all of her hair fell out. And I thought that was odd, and I don't know if, again, that was just the stress of the situation of leaving who she knew as her mother and then coming to stay with us and having a new family and all that, all the changes that happened. Because I remember Madeline had lost her hair too, but it was at like 1 or 2 months old. It wasn't like at 6 months old. So I think that might have to do with maybe just the stress of it or something. The crying with Daisy, like I said, only lasted about 3 weeks. And then after that, she was back to her kind of smiley, happy self. But she would spit up a lot. Like, I just remember there's a lot of stuff that I was having to, and I know every mother has to do this, you know, even with a newborn, kind of figure out what is going on with your child. But it's hard when they've been with somebody else for that, you know, first 4 months of their life. So there's a couple times we had to call the foster mom and ask her, like, she's spitting up a ton. Did she do that with you? And she said no. And we asked, like, were you using some different kind of formula? Because she had given us the formula that she sent, she sent with us. So we were just using that still. But she was spitting up so much, and it was like a lot of what she would eat, that I was starting to get concerned. Like, is she allergic to milk? Like, do I need to find a sensitive formula? So, you know, all those issues that we went through, and it was just difficult because I wasn't the one with her from birth. It was a different lady. That's over now. She chunked up very quickly. I would say within the first like month or two, she chunked up. And then she stayed quite chunky because she was eating so much. And I just let her, if she was hungry, I just let her have, you know, some milk in a bottle. I'm sorry, formula in a bottle. I wasn't feeding her milk. I don't want anybody to freak out. And so I would say it probably took her maybe like 2 months where I didn't feel anymore like that she identified us as her mom and her dad, and Madeline as her sister, where she would respond to us and she would look at us and smile, and a very, very sweet, acclimated. She's it's so amazing to know the background of a child and to think how much this could scar them and create in them like a distrust of people, and you know what I mean. And to see, if you looked at her and just watched her interact with people and watch her interact with us, you would never ever think that any of that other stuff had happened for her. Adoption is a wonderful, beautiful thing. It took a really long time. It took about a year of us having her before we actually were able to go to the courthouse and adopt her and officially adopt her. And that was beautiful too. My older daughter, Madeline, she sat up at the desk with us, and the judge was on the other side. And she was reading through the things for me and Michael, like, do you promise to take care of this child, and you know, all that kind of stuff. And we were saying yes. And then she looked at Madeline and she said, okay, I want you to hold up your right hand and I want you to repeat after me. And she had her repeat, I promise to take good care of my sister forever. And she did. She said it back, you know, and she thought that was so awesome. You know, she kept repeating that to everybody when we left, you know, just like, yeah, and I promised to take care of her forever. You know, she'd go run to help Daisy with something, and I'd be, what are you doing, Madeline? And she'd be like, I promised that I would take care of her, so I have to take care of her. Because Madeline knows that she's adopted. She knows that Daisy's adopted, and she understands that I grew Madeline in my tummy. And this is how we've explained it to her. You know, Madeline, you grew in my tummy, and then I gave birth to you, and so me and Daddy are your mommy and daddy. And with Daisy had a different mommy and daddy. She grew in somebody else's belly, but they couldn't take care of her. They wanted to, but they just couldn't. And so she came to live with us, and we became her mommy and her daddy. And you became her sister. She understands all that, and so she just would keep telling Daisy, like, oh, Daisy, I love you so much, you're gonna be my sister forever, you know. And she's just like, you're gonna live with us forever, you don't ever have to go away. And she was just very excited when the adoption was finalized, and I was too. It took such a huge load off of my, like, the back of my mind. I never worried too much because the situation with her mom and dad, I won't go into, but it wasn't good for her mom and her dad. There was absolutely no way that they were going to be able to get her back, which is really sad, and that's unfortunate. And ultimately, I believe the best thing is for a child to be with their birth mother and father. That's just the best thing. Barring that can't happen though, then the next best thing is for that child to be in a different home that will love them just like their own. There won't be any secrets. Like, Madeline knows that she's adopted. Even sometimes when we go places and people are like, oh, your sister's so cute, you know, she'll be like, yeah, we adopted her, and she'll start telling the whole story. So I expect Daisy to find out. It's not like some secret, you know. She'll probably start to understand as she gets a little bit older. But she's completely ours, 100% ours. You know, it was really hard, and like I was saying, in the back of your head, you just worry another family member could pop up, or just anything could happen, because they're not officially yours yet, so anything could happen. I worried too, because when I found out I was pregnant, they kind of stressed to you at the beginning that if you get pregnant before you're placed, they probably won't place with you. So Michael and I started trying to have our third child closer to when they told us we were gonna have Daisy adopted, but they kept pushing that further and further out. So by that time I was already pregnant. I didn't expect to get pregnant that quickly, but I was, and so I was really, really nervous that that could interrupt, you know, the adoption. They could take her because of that. But I also had a huge peace in my heart, because I knew that God brought her to us, and I had that to hold on to at all times, that I knew what God told me. When I first heard her name, I remember when the social worker left, I just remember crying and thinking, like, I just know Daisy's ours. I just know it. Like, I know that little girl is ours. And she is. And here she is. She's in our family and she's ours. And adoption is really beautiful. Yes, she's officially adopted now. Yes, it's a huge weight off my shoulders. I want to put together a little compilation of all the videos and pictures that I took of her during all of that time when I couldn't show her face. And so again, I'll say her name is Daisy Olivia. That we did not change her first name, but we did change her middle name. We left her name Daisy because it just really fit her. And I'm not going to say her last name, but so it's Daisy Olivia, and now she has our last name, which is wonderful. I mean, that just could make me cry thinking about it. And she is 18 months old, and she's a spitfire. She's stubborn, and she's so unlike Madeline, our oldest. They're just like night and day, but they love playing together. But they're like night and day, you know. Madeline doesn't really like getting dirty, and she's not adventurous. She's a little timid and shy. And then Daisy is outspoken and loud and vocal and not afraid to try anything, and is constantly like climbing our furniture. And Daisy's just so adventurous. So it's so fun to watch the different personalities come out. And so anyways, guys, that's it about Daisy. Now that everything is finalized, I am going to try to start vlogging every day. I'm going to try that for probably like the next week, and then from there I'll see if that is something that I want to do long term, and if not, then otherwise I'm just going to go back to vlogging weekly vlogs. So keep an eye out for those. You should see one coming up tomorrow. These girls are not going to bed. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching my video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.